My name is Elston Ricky Perry. I was born in New Orleans, raised in Berkeley and Oakland. My parents divorced while I was 9 years old, so and it was just my sister and me. My mother married several times, but I never felt close to my stepfathers as I did my real dad. And so I started to dibble and dabble in drugs, marijuana and the like, and later on harder drugs. And then at high school, I was voted most likely to succeed. I was the president of my class at Berkeley High School. However, at 19, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I started to miss class and started to dibble and dabble again in drugs. One day, I raised my voice at my mother. The next thing I know, I was put outside. I was told, you no longer can live here. So I put everything in my old Chevy that my father had given me, and I was homeless. The only shelter that I knew of was the one on Washington in downtown Oakland, where I've driven by many a time. There was something inside that said you needed to go. So I went there at about 3 in the afternoon and found out I was way too early. I just parked down the street and just waited for several hours, just wondering why God would put me in this condition at 19, 1 year just after graduating from high school. And so I didn't stay for dinner. I passed up on the meal. I saw the meal, and I said, you know, other people need it more than I do. And so when the meal was over, they opened the center downstairs for worship. And so in the beginning, I sat in the last row in the back, and something again moved me closer to the front. So it was a good service, but I was still, mad. I was still mad, still hurt. And so when it was time to go to the rooms, I ended up on the top level and on a lower bunk. And I couldn't sleep. I was restless all night. My anger turned into pain. I realized that I had been hiding all of my sorrow with my anger because it was really my fault. So I couldn't sleep because I said, this is where I'm at. I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom, Lord. And I got up in the middle of the night and I walked up a couple of stairs, which are still there. And I turned the knob, and to my surprise, the door was unlocked, and I went up on the roof. It was a starry night. The moon wasn't full, wasn't half. It was hardly noticeable. And I just looked up to the heavens, and I said, God, where do I go from here? I'm at the bottom. I never thought that I would be homeless, never thought that I would be on my own with nobody. I made a promise. I said, God, if you turn my life around, if you just give me one more chance, I promise I won't let you down. And I heard a voice say, son, it's always darkest before the dawn. And I looked around and I didn't see anybody, and I thought God had really spoken to me. And I started to walk where the voice had come from, and it was a Native American. And I guess he had been sleeping there all night. Or I like to think God had him there to give me those words of inspiration and encouragement. Because after he said that, all I could do was go back to my bunk. And I just waited for the sun to rise. I started to go downstairs, and the director stopped me. And he said, I haven't seen you around here before. I said, no, this is my first time. He said, well, we can use young men like you. You can have a place here. And I said, thank you very much. But all I needed was just this one night. And I went to my car and I prayed and went to my dad's house, and he took me in. And from there, I went to live in the Acorn Projects and went to Laney College. And from Laney College, it was one miracle after another miracle. I went to San Francisco State University. My pastor made it possible for me to go to seminary at Berkeley. And since then, I've pastored 6 churches. And every church that I've pastored, we have been committed to the homeless and to the hungry and to the needy, because it was that one night here that turned my life around. I know we can empower our community for change in Oakland. It just takes us to come together as one and to have zero doubt, zero negativity, and to have the kind of trust that only God can give you. I saw it happen during my younger years. I know it can happen again. I truly believe that God wants us to be His vessels, His vehicles to help those who need help the most. When we give to programs and projects and agencies like City Team, you don't know how many Elston Rickies you're helping. But for me, it just took one night and one meal. But for others, it's many nights and many meals. When it was written, it is more blessed to give than to receive. When I was much younger, I just didn't understand that. But now that I've been on the receiving end, I know the blessing that God has given us as stewards to be able to give to those who are in need.
The Spirit of God, the Master, is on me because God anointed me.
He sent me to preach good news to the poor, heal the heartbroken, announce freedom to all captives,
pardon all prisoners. God sent me to announce the year of His grace,
a celebration of God's destruction of our enemies, and to comfort all who mourn,
to care for the needs of all who mourn in Zion. Give them bouquets of roses instead of ashes, messages of joy
instead of news of doom, a praising heart instead of a languid spirit.
Rename them yokes of righteousness planted by God to display His glory. They'll rebuild old ruins, raise a new city out of the wreckage. They'll start
over on the ruined cities. Take the rubble left behind and make it new.
I will do it.
So we can build it.
And we can live in it.